Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Reading Planning Commission, our regular meeting for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. I apologize for last week. I was not well enough to come in for the workshop meeting. So we have a few things to catch up there. All right. First item of business is say who's here. So we have Commissioner Nelson DeLeon and Commissioner Wilson Beasy online, and Peter Rye is here with me in the pen room at City Hall. And I am Wayne Beeler. I am the chairman of Planning Commission. Sort of unrelated to Planning Commission, but I did go to Stratton Armoro's viewing today. And the police department did a very, very fine job as with the honor guard and all the other things that they were doing there. So I just wanted to thank the police department for that.
Just so you know, Commissioner Harris is also on Zoom.
Okay, and Commissioner James Harris has just joined us online. So we can go ahead with our agenda. Do I hear a motion to accept the planning commission agenda as distributed? Peter?
Second.
Nelson? Okay. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. I don't believe we have any previous meeting minutes to review. No? Okay, we'll do that next time. Public comment. Associated with the project. So we will go into our project. First up is the update for 138 South 8th Street, and I'll hand this over to Jerome since he did write a nice letter.
Okay. This review was issued on February 11, 2026. This is in regards to the 138 South 8th Street annexation and land development plan. This plan was originally approved by the Planning Commission some time ago and was on March 26, 2024, and then subsequently then reaffirmed over time, being reaffirmed last month, January 27, 2026. We did do the site inspection and also reviewed the file to determine what is needed. We still do not have the annexation or common deed description for the property, so that will need to be filed and recorded with the approved plan. In order to accommodate the 6 residential apartments, there's going to be a combination of the lots in order to provide the 10 parking spaces. So the driveway apron is supposed to be 22 feet. That has not been included. The on-street parking spaces along South 8th Street would then also have to be the proper signage would have to be placed and then also designated to allow the 22-foot park area. Ironically, we are looking at doing an amendment to that portion of the ordinance, which would allow for fuller widths for each types of parking areas. So we'll discuss that if they want to pursue that avenue. Stormwater management facility for this property was going to be a 100-foot by 3-foot by 9-foot wide infiltration bed. There's no evidence that was completed on the city owner. It was not. The required traffic control signs would need to be placed. The landscaping requirements have not been met. So basically, they need to complete the items that were required as part of the plan. Worcester Fire and Rescue has done a final inspection on their end, but they probably would like to see those other issues completed. We have verified from Public Works that yes, indeed, they are missing the landscaping. So, the cost estimates for this project were originally submitted, for a municipal improvements agreement, and a stormwater management agreement is required. So all those tests need to be completed. So I would suggest that, take a closer look at this as time goes on when it's up for reaffirmation in the next phase.
Are you in contact with their engineer regarding all of this?
Yes, I had a discussion with, Tom Legate, as well as the person acting as the agent. I would say it's a real estate agent, as well as the owner.
Okay.
So all those were passed along. The owner is the one who said that they did not put the infiltration bed.
Okay.
Anyone, here from Dynamics Project?
Yeah, I believe Raimundo just joined us via Zoom.
No, there he is.
Probably some.
Raimundo, if you have anything to add, if you want to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. This is Don Edwards. I'm having a little trouble hearing.
No, Emily, thank you. I got a little trouble with my connection.
Is there anything you wanted to add, Mr. Taveras?
No, that okay.
Will you be able to start the work in the spring?
Hello?
Would it be helpful if I don't, Mr. Tavares, do you speak Spanish?
Yes.
Están preguntando que si puedes empezar el trabajo en la primavera o cuándo deseas empezar el trabajo.
Una pregunta, ¿qué es lo que está faltando? Los de que ellos me dicen. Porque cuando yo compré eso, ya los parqueos estaban.
Esos ya son detalles que se tienen que hablar entonces ya aparte con alguien de la comisión. So he asked, what is it that he needs to complete? And I'm advising him that that's a conversation he needs to have with someone from the commission on the steps that he needs to take. Regarding a date, I don't know that he would probably be able to provide one. So entonces en este momento tú no puedes proporcionar una fecha hasta que no sepa cuáles son las cosas que tiene que arreglar, ¿correcto?
No, exactamente, sí, por eso es que no sé qué tanto que tengo que hacer. Si me dieran por lo menos de 6 meses para adelante o 3 meses, tú sabes, para uno.
I think first, so he's asking 3 months, 6 months, but he's not aware of what he needs to do in my opinion, from my understanding of what he just said. So I think he first needs to get with somebody to have understanding. If it's in English and he needs help with that, I am more than happy to volunteer time to provide him with whatever, I don't know, translation that he may need. So just throwing that out there.
Jamie, he's been advised to keep in contact with his engineer about what he needs to do. So I'm gonna just send an email between you, Mr. Tavares, and his engineer to see if we can't get everyone kind of on the same page and get an actual timeline of when these things are going to get done.
Perfect, thank you. Entonces, nada más le voy a avisar que vas a recibir un correo electrónico. El correo electrónico va a ser entre tú, yo y tu ingeniero, porque tu ingeniero debería saber qué es lo que se necesita para dejarte saber qué es lo que se tiene que cumplir en esa propiedad. Okay.
Ok, está bien, sí.
Okay.
Emily, you want to CC me too? I'd be interested to know what's happening there.
Do you want to be included in that?
Yeah,
Nelson?
just CC me. Yes, thank you.
Yep, okay.
Thank you, Nelson.
You're welcome.
Emily, can I
Yes.
send you the sample agreements for you to forward along with those emails so that we don't get bogged down with emails?
Yep, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thanks for your help on that, Jamie.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anytime.
Okay, and thank you, Mr. Tavares, for for joining us today. And there are no other comments. We'll move on to our next plan here, which is the Iglesia Cristiana Casa del Rey at 544 and 556 North 9th Street. It's a minor land development and annexation plan, and John Hopper is here.
Yes, sir. We did receive Hawk Valley Jerome's review letter dated February 12th, to which in fact I do believe that we have complied with all of the statements. Therefore, the only outstanding would be signing and sealing the plans, signing and notarizing the plans by Pastor Brian Guzman. And we also received from Michelle Mayfield the actual land development improvement and maintenance agreement, to which has been completed as well. Again, awaiting execution by Pastor Brian Guzman on the requirement, which is the only public improvement being proposed, is the sidewalk at what would be the frontage of 544 North 9th Street. There's a section from the corner of the existing church to the south. It's approximately 13-foot wide, the right-of-way width, by approximately 30-foot length, which has to be replaced as recommended by the engineering department, Chris Vogel. So those are the only things that we have. So we would therefore respectfully request additional final plan approval, subject to the terms of Jerome's review letter dated February 12th.
Michelle, this might be something that, I don't know if you forwarded the simplified version.
Yeah.
Okay, got a simplified version.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. John, just before it's signed, could you shoot it over to me just to make sure all the lines are filled in? I know you have, but I just want to put a set of eyes on it.
We'll take care of it tomorrow, Michelle. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Ron?
No, actually, John, summarizing what you needed. The fence will be on the all given way. Traffic will not be able to exit or enter from side streets. So therefore, we avoid the and on each lead. Also accessibility onto that area, so we're all good there. And it's the 4 parking spaces that are going to be jockeying around for position. I assume those are going to be for the church.
Absolutely. That'll be for staff and their pastor relative to their parking. One of the 4 parking spaces will be designated as a handicap, only because parking in that particular area is rather tough. And on weekends, obviously, a lot of the cars aren't moved frequently, and therefore any handicap space is very tough to find. So one of those will be designated.
The arborist had some concerns, as well as I did, with the selected plant material surviving. It's the likelihood with the look. They basically just had indicated for you to select or to look into plant materials that's not going to require much light at all.
It may be dark in there.
Yeah. So if you do plan to, or the other option would be.
I will have to pass that by the church.
Yeah.
At this point in time, it seemed, I'd say, cheaper alternative to do the plantings, and then hopefully, Mother Nature, they would do a lot of the watering themselves. However, I do understand, as close as the buildings can be, light may be a factor, or we can actually just go through the plant material and modify or change that out. So if I can talk to either you or the arborist, and we can go from there.
Sunshore Lester will be very happy to get you and work with that.
Any recommendation would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, any comments or questions from the commissioner? Okay, hearing none. Do I hear a motion to grant preliminary final approval for the Glacia Christiana Casa del Rey annexation and land development plan, file number 2512-0025, subject to the applicant resolving all issues referenced within the review letter issued by Hawk Valley Associates dated February 12th, 2026. Okay, Peter, second.
I'll second.
Okay, James. Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. And then, do I hear a motion to authorize the chairman of the planning commission to execute the municipal improvements agreement?
So move.
Okay, Nelson, second. Peter? Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, John.
Have a nice evening.
Okay, next up, we have the Reading School District Northeast Middle School. This is a parking lot extension. This is the first time we're taking a look at it, so I'll hand it over to Jerome for the review.
This review was issued on February 16th, 2026. This is the Northeast Middle School Land Development Plan, which is a preliminary / final plan review. The area that's going to be approved is on the Northeast Middle School property. It's 5.2 acres. It's opposite of the Charlton Marion Elementary School, so the likelihood of this is going to be a parking area to facilitate a number of needs. We did accept the plan as the preliminary / final plan. It did involve stormwater management and accessibility comments that were addressed. The landscaping was reviewed by the arborist, providing comments. The lighting plan needs just to be tweaked and with the comment notes that we provide on the plan. Critical issues were for site accessibility, parking, and loading, in which, as I mentioned, this is located on the opposite side of Charlton Marion Elementary School. So we weren't exactly 100% sure if the parking facility was going to be for the Northeast Middle School, for the Charlton Marion School, or for both. And if so, the most critical comment was that the city's position is on mid-block crosswalks are definitely an option that's not favorably. We'll come back to this one a little bit later. But that was the most critical issue, and of course there'd be some signage and some areas where on-street parking would not be required. The curb sidewalks and ramps along this stretch are in good condition. The Annapolis Fire and Rescue Department also reviews site accessibility issues. We did have stormwater management permits, which should be able to be overcome. This again is with the surface area parking that's new. There will be an erosion sedimentation control plan. First County Conservation District should issue their review and approval of the letter of evidence. If there are any waivers that are required for this plan application, they should be submitted. A municipal improvements agreement will be required for this project, as well as a stormwater management maintenance agreement. All in all, this plan is in very good shape. And again, it's the most critical issue is the site accessibility issue. Stairs coming down from the parking area. And then also how it's going to be connected with the parking facilities along the east side of of the street versus on how it's going to be connected, and then also connected into the Northeast Middle School itself. So
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, we did receive that letter, last Tuesday. We had already responded and thought through a lot of these things. I know they're going to need a little more time to look at that. Yes. There are a couple of things here real quickly. I think the only comment, I'll start with number 4, which was with regards to landscaping. There's a question about if we had a couple more trees. And we can have
I would reach out to letters with like trees. Preferred.
The some lighting with all of these are in what we sent back to you last Tuesday. In regard to the I guess concern about Hippolyte Crossing, we do have there's an existing parking lot on the northeast middle school, northwest corner of that parking lot, set of steps takes of the sidewalk where the lanes are. This proposed expansion. Right. Is as Jerome indicated to offset disruption of existing parking spaces. So this is to facilitate the need for off-street what we propose is a sidewalk and steps from this parking station down to the side sidewalk across the street on 12 area. That is not the purpose or arguing with that parking for a block crossing. Anybody associated with 12th and Marion out of the vehicular parking lot quickly for pedestrian access rather than walking through the parking lot. Access ways from fire folks at home. The steps are up in this corner, so our proposed parking lots in this lawn area. If we don't have a connection here, these folks would have to walk through the aisle of this parking lot. So I'm trying to eliminate vehicular and pedestrian conflict.
Yeah. What is their likely path to the Northeast Middle School itself?
Well, they'd have to go to one of the corners.
No, to Northeast Middle School.
Well, this is
all existing Northeast Middle School park.
Yeah, I'm talking about the new parking area.
the new parking areas right here.
Yeah, how would you get to middle school?
Well, this parking expansion isn't intended to serve Northeast Middle School. If someone were to park here to go there, they would have to walk around. There's a bit of a slope in here, it's paved. So it's not necessarily accessible.
This is mostly the benefit to
Yes.
the open area.
Yeah, a long time ago, I think we were in for a one stop and we kind of brought the attention to, we wanted to offset the loss of on-site and lack of meeting the existing requirement for 12th and Marion. Here, we did look at the needs of Northeast Middle School and the requirements of Northeast Middle School to see if there were available spaces in the existing parking to offset that for 12th and Marion, and there were not. So this expansion serves strictly the staff.
So there is no need then to have stairs on the opposite side of the park facility going up to the middle school. I guess you look at that.
Not at this time. I know, I'm not sure what the plan is for future Northeast, but
short of adding a few positions like reading special issue. I think It would follow the same walking path that others have now. Because as we indicate, there is a slight slope in front of the cars that are perpendicular to the building. But again, that there won't be any that would go. That's just going on. We aren't proposing any mid-block crossing. We're trying to get pedestrians out of the phase.
The thing with that, the only thing was if you were gonna go up and onto Birch Street, then that would have been another set of steps, and then you would have lost parking space.
Yeah. And as it stands now, I think it's not very difficult. Well, and Marion, we have a couple other block spots in there just to kind of square it off and make sure. With regards to the stormwater, which is comment 9, our engineer, Mr. Jackson, and Mr. Harvey will work all of that out. I'm not sure if it was on tonight. They when I last week and he said he was in support. Yes, I think that's that. But he is. The fire marshal, I think, shot a very short email saying he had no issues. We understand the agreements and escrow. I should have an escrow estimate to tomorrow for this. It's pretty minor. And I believe in what we sent you last week has the approved stamped ENS plans from the district. So I think it's pretty much just tidying up. You get a chance to work through all of that. Yeah.
Don is on this call as well, and I just want to get, so we understand what his position is on the mid-block crossing. If they're ever proposed in the future, this is not one of those projects, but we've had a few of them in the past that have come in. It was emphatically a no.
Yes, I recall.
Okay, so we'd like, this is a good opportunity to get Don's position. I'm gonna put you on the spot, Don.
Don, you're muted. There.
Okay. As far as mid-block crossings are concerned, I think that's the issue at hand, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I got clarification from PennDOT about a week ago that our definition of mid-block crossing is different than theirs. Any place where there is an intersection, whether it be a major street or a minor street, that's not considered a mid-block crossing according to PennDOT, and does not require a PennDOT permit if a state road is involved. So I do have that information to share. Is there anything else regarding the specific plan where you'd like my opinion?
Not with this plan, but periodically it does come up with some other applications. And what the previous comments were from the Public Works Department were, no, please avoid it and use the block.
Yeah, for this project, we're not proposing it. I think that the general question is to kind of see where the city stands on future applications proposing mid-block crossings.
Okay.
Posted or mentioned.
Okay.
It was not favorably looked upon.
Okay. I will say that I am not opposed to them. The only exception would be if my supervisor, Kyle, provided a negative opinion. But if he wasn't the one who wasn't against it, I do not have a problem with mid-block crossings, provided they are at the intersections as opposed to, just in the middle of a street where it's not at an intersection.
Seems like it's the same policy then.
Maybe. The only, because this goes back quite a while, when we did some ADA ramp improvements for Albright College, if you're familiar with where their dorms are and their baseball field and basically the tunnel that goes into campus, a very old, non-ADA compliant I guess, mid-block crossing, if you will, from the point of that baseball field direct to that tunnel was denied repeatedly, even after two different police chiefs said this is the safest place for pedestrians to cross. That was one instance I was familiar with, like, okay, we won't upgrade the ADA ramp.
Okay.
There was another instance where RAC did a crossing as well. So that.
Well, I'd like to amend my answer there. I would like for common sense to prevail. So if it's properly engineered and it's safe, my suggestion is to address those on a case-by-case basis.
Yep. Thank you. So based on this letter, I know, Jerome, you have any other concerns or comments? As I mentioned, we did shoot back out a revised and response to your February 16th letter. I'm still looking through it. Based on these,
That's fair. I had discussions with both Michael Hart and Jim Gurley on the other issues, and I saw the response letters and we're comfortable with it. Did we receive Berks County comments?
Yeah, I just, did you just want to make sure that you saw their comment regarding, instead of saying instrument number, book and page number?
yeah, so I did look back through records, and reached out to Miss Franklin because there is no 10-digit. The deed was recorded at the date of January 1st, 1900. But she said, yeah, what's the deed book? And page number.
Okay. And then just the comment regarding, or the question number 5 regarding the trench drains.
Yeah, so the question or the comment from the county plan is we have 2 proposed trench drains within the parking lot in lieu of typical type M and type C 2x4 inlets. The reason for the use of trench drains is we're on the edge of that embankment that goes down to the sidewalk at the street, and within that embankment is an existing storm pipe that we're not sure totally its condition and depth. And we didn't want to over excavate for a larger structure there. So we kept a smaller structure there to limit depth and exposure of that. And just the thing you would have with the type C or type M standard inlet, they pile snow on it. Gonna be on top of that. Now that being said, the likelihood, and you can speak to this, but my guess is that any snow removal would be piled up onto the lawn area to the south or removed. And I believe we do have a filter stacked and detailed on the plans, somewhere like an inlet filter. Okay. And the last part of this project, we did not survey the entire boundary and topography for the site. It was very limited surveys. County wanted a deep block added to the plan set, which we just need to done.
Good.
All right. Did you have anything else on this, Don?
I'm sorry, was that question for me?
Yes, Don. Did you have anything else to mention?
I do not, and I apologize. I'm having a little trouble hearing from this tablet here. But no, I don't have any further comment.
Okay, very good. Any comments from the commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Will. Thank you. Yes, the audio is not optimal tonight. So if I missed something, I'm sorry. First of all, I'm pleased that some time ago, what we used to call the trailers, the mobile classroom, was finally removed from the Northeast Middle School, the rear, on the other side of that. Well, sort of crosses across both parts of that lane that goes down the middle of the property. I was just a little surprised. We just approved the plans for the 12th and Marion School. Why the applicant didn't bring this idea up then? It would have been helpful to think about things already then. But anyway, I'm glad it's before us now. That side of the parcel west of that lane I just mentioned, all that was recreation space. Most, if not all of it, was impervious. Pervious before, and now it's increasingly more and more impervious and less recreation space. The district, Reading School District, generously allows the public to park on its facilities. That's very helpful, especially when we have snow. But it also generously allows people to use its recreation facilities, even when it's not in session, and people do use them. So I'm just wondering if there's some minimal amount of space that the district needs for that in that southwest corner there that is currently grass. Is there some policy the district has where it has to have a certain amount? I don't know, because there's a few other areas, but they're not really optimal or conducive on this parcel where there's really space for anything like that. Does the applicant have anything to say? Is there some commitment that you're not going to take the whole thing away, or what? I can't imagine you would. Is there any thought about that? How much space will be left? I couldn't tell because the plans didn't show the context of what would be left on the drawings.
Well, this is Wayne Garris. We are looking to add 2 rows of parking, and I agree with you. Why I cannot commit that in the future we will not take any more of that land away. I think one thing to point out, you mentioned that we allow for residents to park on our parking lots. However, when 12th and Marion is completed, because the entrance to the parking lot will be under our building, residents will no longer be able to park at 12th and Marion. So the additional space that we're adding will not only allow for spaces for the staff at 12th and Marion, but also for the community members that will be losing access to the 12th and Marion parking lot.
That's a good reminder, Mr. Garris. It is a trade-off, but yeah, as long as you're not leaving yourself short with the recreation space, the pervious part of the parcel there. Again, you would know better how much is necessary for your various, gymnastic and sports activities. But like I said, the public does I do see people using them. I didn't hear everything that was said on the mid-block. I'm sorry. I note that there's a bus stop on this block. There's one on the southern end, on the west side of the street, on North 12th Street. I thought there was one on the northern end as well. There always had been, but I went by a few days ago. I didn't see the sign for it, so unless I'm missing something or it's changed. There might be 2. On the map, it shows 2 bus stops, but I don't know how current that is. And I'm just factoring that into the equation about, if there is a mid-block crosswalk, to consider that besides school buses. And I was thinking the same as our planning consultant, we would have to have a crossing guard there. Bear in mind, the city pays the salary, not the district. I'm sure the district would be willing to do so if necessary. I'm not faulting them. I'm just saying that there's something for us in the city to keep in mind. Not a major thing, but a consideration. Because, yes, absolutely for the safety there. Yeah, my preference, I'm serious because I've seen this in other places, instead of mid-block crosswalks would be a pedestrian bridge if they were absolutely necessary. We did allow a mid-block crosswalk further north on North 12th Street. I think it's the 1700 block. I don't know if, Aristides, if you were part of that for the dormitory behind Shirk Stadium, right? But that is much less traffic than that's much less traffic than this block. And again, I don't think there are bus stops there, and that was factoring into our consideration why we put up with it there. But it wasn't our optimal choice. But I mean, we did allow it there. I think the advice we got from Mr. Edwards from the Public Works to evaluate these on a case by case basis is sound. I think it really does depend on all the factors. So I'm kind of skeptical of it if it can be avoided. I mean, because it's really something that's only going to be used primarily a couple of times a day, and only so many days per year, of course, as we know, 180, of course. So is there some way it could be?
I'm sorry, we're not looking for a mid-block crosswalk. Just first point, and just as a matter of reference, the Reading School District does pay 50% of the salaries for.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Okay.
We are not looking for a mid-block crosswalk.
And also,
I understand you're not asking for it, right? Thank you. But no, that's good. I didn't realize about the cost sharing. That's good. You pointed that out. But
just the point, Will, that this property is entirely on the Northeast Middle School property. Although this area may be utilized by 12th and Marion Elementary,
right?
They're two different parcels. So this.
Absolutely. But my point is I've pointed out before, and I think I pointed it out originally in regard to Albright College for the same reason, and the school district falls into the same category, where even more so because the properties are scattered around. Because when there's a relationship between one parcel, one school, and another, whether it's transportation, traffic, pedestrian, it's something that we have to look at the whole picture as planning, as from a planning standpoint. Is why I bring that up, because one thing relates to another, and so it helps us to look at the larger picture instead of looking at everything simply in isolation. And I said Albright because not all their parcels were contiguous. Was the point? That's been changing a bit as they sold off some properties, but they still have some parcels here and there. But the school district more so, and that's why I bring that up. So, but no, I appreciate it. I understand that I'm not faulting the applicant on the idea of the mid-block crosswalk, but it's something for us to think about, the pros and the cons, if it's something that were really absolutely necessary. But I mean, it is something that I'm a little skeptical about, but I possibly could be convinced. But I just wanted to factor in the bus stops as part of the consideration. That's all I have for this, but thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Will. Very good. Anything from any of the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, it's Michelle. Just making sure that they need the sample agreements. Do they need us to send the sample agreements?
If they're the same as the ones you sent for 12th and Marion, I certainly have them, and so does the school district.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Yes. So here, do I hear a motion to grant preliminary final plan approval for the Northeast Middle School Land Development Plan, Salvo number 2601-0001, subject to the applicant resolving all issues referenced within the review letter issued by Hawk Valley Associates dated February 16th, 2026. Peter? Yeah, second.
I'll second.
Okay, James? Gotta get my pen working here. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? All right, and then, do I hear a motion to authorize the chairman of the planning commission to execute the municipal improvements agreement and stormwater management maintenance agreements? Okay, Peter? Second. Nelson? Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, thank you very appreciate it. Yeah, what's next? Okay. Somewhat related since it's educational.
We're moving up. Should have $12 then an hour. Progressive.
Yeah. Thank you. The up next we have Albernia. Thanks, Wayne. Next up we have Albernia University, the main campus pavilion. As I remember, we saw a sketch plan of this and we had some comments, and I think they were all incorporated into
into the plan, so we'll have Jerome give the review.
Yes, as you recall, we did take a quick look at this plan about a year ago. It was determined that a minor land development plan would be required. This review was completed on February 17th, 2026, and this would be identified as the Alvernia University main campus pavilion. The pavilion itself would be 2,700 square feet. The area or of disturbance for the site would be 4,800 square feet, both of which would require a minor land development plan. So keeping that in mind, this application was submitted under that criteria. It is located in the R2 and INS, the Institutional Overlay District, so the use is permitted. Did have a couple minor stormwater or a few minor stormwater comments regarding rate control, as well as some details. As I mentioned, there is no need for approval of the erosion and sedimentation control plan from the Berks County Conservation District, since it's under the 5,000 square foot criteria. We asked that a series of notes be placed on the plan in order to facilitate or to provide the comments for previous concerns by the Fire and Rescue Department, as well as Building and Trades and the Zoning Office. So those notes will need to be added. The Berks County Planning Commission will need to review the plan. And we said a site improvements agreement or a small project agreement should be completed in lieu of a municipal improvements agreement and stormwater management maintenance agreement. It is going to be just for the stormwater management facilities, which are all identified on the site. It's going to be a proposed bioretention landscaped area. The landscape the city arborist has also reviewed the plan, also agreed with some of my concerns, which was it's a tight area, very limited options to put in other landscaping materials.
Okay, very good. Do you have any comments, Don?
I have no comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any comments from the applicant?
Not really. I went through the letter, don't find anything concerning. I looked at the stormwater management comments and have a solution to a couple, well, basically all of the comments, where I'll just have to add a little bit of storage to the facility that we have proposed, and it'll contain a small discharge pipe, like a 4-inch pipe, that will connect to one of the existing inlets right there. It's only going to add maybe 80 square feet of disturbance, and the storage would allow me to control peak rate as requested in comment. I ran a water quality volume calculation per the city's code, and with what we're storing and removing from volume, we'll meet that, no problem. So I'll update the stormwater management report to include those items, and I will update the details. I'll add a planning schedule as requested with some more specific plant types for the stormwater facility in accordance with the PCSM, DEP's PCSM spreadsheet directions for ET credits. The one question I did have, I see there was a comment requesting an easement around the stormwater facility. That's what I was going to ask, as long as Alvernia's okay with that. I could just add a blanket easement, granting access, and I'm sure there's wording that I could.
See, a blanket easement is provided for stormwater management facilities throughout the on the property,
the main campus. And then a cost estimate. You need the cost estimate for this?
Yeah, Michelle, this is going to be a little bit of a tricky question for resolution. it is just gonna be a small project that's just gonna involve the stormwater management facilities on the site, and then that's all it's going to be. There are no other municipal improvements. A stormwater management maintenance agreement would be required. Can we combine the two?
Yes, I've did that before, which basically says whatever improvements are done, the stormwater improvements are done, they agree to pay the inspection costs before any CO. I have a sample of that I've used in another municipality.
So we're gonna need to know the cost estimates for the drainage improvements.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I don't escrow that money. It's just that they had to pay for the inspections.
Okay, you don't reference cost at all in the small project.
No, not like this. I just have them agree to pay for the inspections.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Would you be able to send me a sample?
Yeah. Can you get my email from Simon or Jesse or Emily and send me an email?
Sure. I think you may have sent me the stormwater agreement previously. I don't know if it had any wording with the inspection fees though.
Yeah, that what I don't usually put that in our standard agreement. For other projects, but I do this as kind of a one step.
Right.
So
I could send you an email tomorrow morning.
yeah, that's fine. And I'll send you I'll call that the stormwater improvements agreement versus the simplified improvements agreement.
Perfect. Thank you.
Setting on the notification for you, so that you're kind of.
Okay. Yep, we'll do.
All right.
We do not, did you happen to receive a letter from the Berks County Planning Commission?
That was gonna be my next question.
Okay.
I have not.
I have not either, and we're still within the 30 days. So we wouldn't necessarily be able to take action. But in the meantime, we can start getting those agreements at least like sent to you that sample, get all of that squared away, and then that way next month it should be ready then for.
Can they initiate their zoning permit?
The zoning permit has already been submitted. That would be a question for the zoning administrator, whether or not he wants to issue it. I mean, it's been reviewed, it's just pending.
I think the zoning permit will have to wait for us to finalize the approval before they issue that.
You can break ground and start moving dirt since the ENS plan does not need to be approved by the conservation district. So you can at least start that.
Yeah. And at least February is a short month, so you save yourself a couple of
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question.
It'll be here before you know it.
So we'll have to table it until next month.
Okay. Pretty good. Be able to see the ground by then too.
Right. Yeah, actually most of the snow is melted off of my property, which is quite surprising. Any questions or comments from the commissioners?
I just have to recuse myself. Trustee. Not gonna be voting.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah.
There there's 3 to vote on this matter.
No, 4.
Yep, math is tough.
What's up?
Math is tough. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know math is tough. My kids put me to shame whenever it comes to math.
Just in the future.
Yeah, so we have 3 on Zoom.
Yeah, since James joined us, we're good. Okay.
Just a reminder with your abstaining, you'll have to make sure the minutes reflect that he's abstaining, and you'll have to do the abstention memo.
One of those again?
You'll just make sure the minutes reflect that you're abstaining, and there's a memo, a short memo. It's a one-liner basically saying you're abstaining because you're a trustee. That'll have to be done. Simon or Emily, if you need that memo, let me know.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Any other comments? Very good. Do I hear a motion to table the minor land development plan for the Albernia University main campus pavilion?
I'll move it.
Okay, thank you, Will. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, James? Question on the motion?
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Now, Michelle,
Yes.
I would call that a unanimous vote, 4-0, with one abstention.
It'd be
you agree?
401. Yeah, 4 in favor, no votes, and 1 abstention.
Yeah. So in the minutes, it's just 4-0-1. Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you for coming in today, and we should have this wrapped up next month. No problem.
Yeah, I'll work on getting revised plans and the stormwater updates, hopefully by the end of this week or early next week.
Okay. Okay, very good. So next we move on to the Eternity Youth Adult Daycare Center at 118 South 9th Street. And I see someone is online for this. Is there someone here in the room for this? No? Okay, Mr. Lopez, how are you today?
So, Dan was on, I don't know if he still is.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's right, Dan's doing this one. Okay, great. Well, since this is the first time we're looking at this.
Hello,
I'll
they're
turn it
here.
over. Oh, great. Okay, I'm going to first have Jerome go over the review letter and then
Give me the phone, please.
We'll have a discussion.
Okay, this plan was reviewed on February 18th, 2026 by our office. This is the Eternity Daycare Facility Land Development Plan. It's been reviewed as a preliminary / final plan. It will be a change of use with this project, going from the Jet Set Diner to a daycare facility or for adults. Proposed development or change of use is located at 118 South 9th Street. It does have proposed satellite parking around the facility. So there'll be multiple parcels involved with this project. It is located in the R3 zoning district, and the zoning hearing board has granted a special exception on May 10th, 2023, in order to permit the change of use as well as the adult daycare facility, and also to accommodate I believe the parking facilities as designed. The applicant should consider submitting whatever architectural drawings, mostly floor plans, to the planning and zoning office for further review in order to start to evaluate this process. This plan will have it be involved with, or will require minimum of, I believe, 30 parking spaces. There's 38 off-street parking spaces proposed on multiple properties. There are 6 parcels that involve the adjacent off-street parking, which I've identified. They're on 116 South 9th Street, 124 South 9th Street, 126 South 9th Street, 109 Peach Street, 110 to 112 Peach Street, 116 and 118 Peach Street. So that will be able to provide, it's my understanding it's the same setup as the Jet Set
Yeah,
restaurant.
so those parcels have already been used, it's already developed as parking for that building. It's just a condition of their ZHB approval that all those parcels for the parking be put in as one lot with the building, just to make everything kind of clean and make sure that the parking stays with the building.
So we're going to be looking at an annexation plan here.
This was submitted as an annexation plan.
Can you annex across the Peach Street?
Technically, a parcel can be bisected by a street or alley.
The deed description would have to account for that.
It's kind of like the property up on Trooper Road that went for the zoning map amendment a while ago. That was technically one parcel divided by Trooper Road.
Ultimately, the parking space lease spaces would all have to be resolved as part of this as well. So it's the use of the land. Also moving into the vehicular accessibility into the off-street parking areas. We had mentioned about the 22-foot width, in which it's my understanding that they can revise the plan to make that width requirement. We've also suggested that the pickup and drop-off area may want to look at extending the north side of the road, extending from Peach to South 9th Street, in order to allow for bypass traffic to occur. So if you're dropping off, you could still pull up a little bit further and then allow a car to bypass it. They're also looking at the possibility of using that area for a open space or recreation area as well. So that option is still on the table for the applicant to resolve. The driveway ramps along South 9th Street appear to be in good condition. So therefore, this part of South 9th Street is located under the control of PennDOT. If you go further south, it would not. But I mean, this segment is. So we feel that the improvements that they're proposing would not require a PennDOT HOP for this project. The curbs and sidewalks along South 9th Street appear to be in good condition, and in fair condition along Peach Street. So therefore, the Public Works Department may want to take a closer look at the sidewalks along Peach to determine if they need to be replaced. The proposed refuse disposal area and recycling area would need to be identified on the plan. The plan itself will be connected to sanitary sewer system. The applicant did provide the narratives for the comparison of the previous use, the Jet Set Diner, as well as the proposed adult daycare. However, the adult daycare, they did not identify the facility as being utilized to its maximum capacity, which I believe it should. They used 150 adults, but the site is supposed to be developed to accommodate 300 adults. So in that instance, we felt that the comparison should be looked at. The good news for the applicant is that it appears that if you utilize 20 gallon per day flow, and that would equate to just over 6,000 gallons per day as compared to the Jet Set Diner, which I believe was at 7,000. So that's something for the Public Works Department to take a closer look. If those values are all acceptable, a planning module will not be required. Fire and rescue should take a closer look at this. It's the site will be utilized differently from a restaurant to the daycare facility. The plan would need to be reviewed by the county planning commission. We had asked for a few notes to be added, and the parking lease agreement would need to be completed as part of this application. There are no other municipal improvement agreement or improvements for this property, nor are there stormwater management maintenance or improvements. So therefore, those two agreements most likely would not be required unless Public Works determines that the sidewalks need to be replaced. Then we could possibly look at a small project. That's all I have. All right.
Okay, can I say?
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Hey, I think Emily was talking about how to annex this. This property is owned by two different entities. The parking spaces are owned by one party, and the building is owned by another party. They would like to combine the whole thing at some point in the future, but right now they don't have the finances. So what I was going to do is write a description for the three separate parking areas and put a note on them that they're undividable. and that they are to be used for the parking for South 9th Street, 118, 20 and 22. Because some of the parking spaces are, Emily said it can cross a street, but some of the parking spaces are separated by a building. So I was wondering how we want to do that.
Well, we didn't receive comments from the Berks County Planning Commission yet, so it's going to be tabled. So it'll give me time to verify with the ZHB solicitor if that will suffice to meet the condition of the ZHB approval.
Fortunately, it's the same owner for all the off-street parking areas. And
yes.
So it's those 6 parking areas would then be the same owner, which is who is this?
Yeah, I'll send Dan, I'll connect you with the ZHB solicitor so you can explain what you want to do, and then he'll let you know whether or not that will suffice in meeting the conditions.
I think Caesar's on, and he.
Right. 2 different people, 2 different properties.
Yeah, it's a BVR Recreation LLC is the owner of all the parking spaces, and the owner of the daycare facility itself is Saidu.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead, Doc.
I'm wondering if this situation could be covered with a parking easement. I wonder if Michelle might want to talk to that.
Don, they did submit a parking easement.
I think that's what they're asking is if the problem is that the condition of the ZHB approval was that all of the parking and the building would need to be annexed together. They're looking to see if the parking easement would suffice until the daycare has the funds to actually do the annexation.
Okay.
So we'll have to follow up with the ZHB solicitor to see if that's possible.
Yeah, well, we have time to figure this out, I think.
Okay, thank you.
But they did submit the off-street parking lease agreement.
Okay.
With this, and probably needs to be fine-tuned anyway. And but like I said, it's 6 parcels.
Okay.
Would need to be all figured out.
Dan.
Yeah.
The previous use of this was, of course, the Jet Set restaurant. Did they ever pull the? Do you know if they ever pulled the PennDOT HOP?
They had the plans and everything set up, but I don't think they ever consummated them. So they had talked to PennDOT and they could move ahead and revise the permit, but they hadn't finished it. The whole goal was we wanted to do all our access from Peach Street and not impact 9th Street at all. So, and Peach Street is one way going south. It's 16 feet wide. It gives you nice access in and out of these parking spaces. There's no parking along Peach Street in this area.
Do you have any comments, Mr. Lopez?
Hello, good afternoon.
There we go. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to the Planning Commission to review this project. And I'm a licensed social worker and I'm for the community. We just want to work in this project as a community-based organization to give back to the community, to the elderly population that they need those kind of businesses in the community. So I hope you guys take in consideration our project and thank you for reviewing it. If anything, any comment, we're trying to meet everything that is possible to meet the guideline to go to the state, because after we get approved from you guys, we need to go and get the state have to come and do the final inspection from us. So that's why we are here to make sure that we make everything by the book. And thank you everything again.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lopez. Okay, do you have anything else, Dan?
I think my conversations with them is that they're not at a financial position to do the annexation of the parking to the building. But that's why I wanted to. But this parking space is this. Oh, it's a combination of all these tiny pieces. So the current deed is described by the pieces. I would like to do a legal description of each section individually and get rid of the little parcels, and at the end that they're undividable and tie them up to the building until such point in time that they can the folks that own the parking lot can take over the building.
Great. Very good. Any comments or questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, I have a question. So this is a two-story building, right? Is there renovation involving both stories to this building?
That's why I cut the sewage module down to 150, because I think based on the occupancy of the first floor, they can only handle 150 people, and to extend into the second floor would take major renovations. So at this point in time, they really only want to deal with the first floor and try to get things going.
So my thoughts were that do the entire building for the sewage modules, since you are designing the off-street parking area for maximum capacity, and you can also design the sanitary sewage flows for maximum capacity, because you would still be the same as JetSet.
Yeah, but it would remain unfinished.
Right? Yeah, but if you want to go through that process at a later date, then
Yeah, I would second that recommendation, just because the ZHB did allow for maximum of 300, and it'll prevent any kind of issues in the future when they do make that expansion to the second floor of having to come back and redo modules and do all of that. So if Dan, while we wait for everything else, if we can also just get a narrative for up to 300, that'll remove any issues in the future regarding sewer modules.
Yeah, I could revise my narrative. Send that to you, Emily, or send it to Deb? Or...
No, send it. If you could send it to Deb Hogue and Robert Roth and just copy me on it, so I see it.
How's the second floor configured currently? What's up there?
Can you answer that, Mr. Lopez?
When does it work?
What was the question again?
How is the second floor configured, and will you be using it in the future?
We are not going to be using the second floor at this time. Our goal is to buy the property, but we need to start operating. We need to start doing business first before we need to start getting something on the second floor.
What's up there now?
Excuse me?
What is up on the second floor right now?
Right, it's empty. It's empty.
Just a big empty space?
Yes.
Okay, so easily configurable there. Very, very good. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question or comment, Mr. Chairman. This is Will. Of course, the Planning Commission is quite familiar with this parcel. I think it makes sense to have the ingress and egress for the parking on Peach Street instead of South Ninth Street. Will it also be the point of access for deliveries and the trash pickup and that sort of thing as well?
Yeah, that's the plan, Will. I think I talked to Jerome, and we were the loading zone that I had on the parking lot on the north side of the building, near the I had the loading zone near the handicap spaces, and it would block that. So we were going to shove that into that area a little further east towards 9th Street. I can put the trash collection on what is called 109 Peach Street, so that would be accessible. So our goal is to have everything come out of Peach Street. I looked at it. We could do some landscaping along Peach Street. We left some room in there, and we can plant some trees along 9th Street.
Good. Now, only question was on the photographs that we were provided by our planning consultant, which are always very helpful. Behind the arborvitae on the 9th Street side, on the north side of the driveway, it looked to me like, I zoomed in to try to take a look. It looked like there was a tank there. Is there still anything like that? Is that a permanent fixture? Was that removed? Or, I mean, is it something else? But it looked like a metal tank, like an oil tank or something.
I'll have to look at that. With all the darn snow and everything, I was trying to get the plan together for them. And
yeah.
And I didn't take notice of that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just take a look at that, because I don't.
Oh, I
don't
see
think-
the one picture.
Yeah.
Looks like there's something back there.
Yeah. All right. Take a look at that. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thanks, Will. Right. So, since we do not have the Berks County Planning Commission comments, we will have to table this. Do I hear a motion to table? Okay, Peter, second?
I'll second.
Okay, James? Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 So,
Opposed? Okay. Yes, Dan.
so while we're waiting for next month, I'll make these few revisions and get that back into you. I'll revise the narrative to Deb and Robert, and I'll look at after the snow's melted. I'll go in there and take a look at and make sure there's nothing that's going to infringe with the parking spaces that I have there.
Okay, very good. Yeah, we should be able to pretty much wrap this up next month with if everything goes well, which this is a lot easier than the Jet Set restaurant.
I think the Jet Set restaurant kind of came into some issues with the COVID and never recovered. So this seems to be a good use for the building and allow it to stay in good repair and be a use for the community.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you very much, everyone. And we will see you next month.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lopez. Okay, up next we have the revised plan of record for 601 Penn Street. I'll hand it over to Jerome for the update.
Yes, this plan was submitted to the city of Reading. It is the 601 Penn Street revised plan of record. Based upon our previous discussions, a waiver request was denied for this portion. It should follow the provisions that are specified for a plan exempted by standard procedure, since it is a revised plan of record. My comments have been issued on February 19th, 2026. As you are aware, that this is the 601 Penn Street is a 10-story, was a 10-story office and commercial use. It will now be, as it's going through the process, both through zoning hearing board as part of a special exception application, as well as for the change of use itself. There was also an appeal that was issued by the city council with respects to the project itself and the zoning hearing board's decision. So there is a settlement agreement that's in place to allow a maximum of 180 residential apartment units within floors 2 through 10. And this plan does not mention anything about what's on the first floor. So what I'm assuming it would be still commercial office spaces, but it still should be noted on the plan what that is, since it's part of the building itself. Second floor still appears to be undecided in terms of what all the uses are going to be. Floors 3 through 10 are set for the residential apartments itself, being a maximum of 20 units per floor. All of those apartments would have to be reviewed in further detail by the zoning office to determine if they meet the provisions for floor space for either a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom efficiency, whatever's proposed. So that would need to be verified, and I believe it was verified past, but an update would need to be certainly considered since the applicant has now reduced it to 178 residential apartments. So all this would need to be noted on the plan. The floor plans would be nice to have either in terms of worksheets or supplemental information that they could include on the plan. But that's spelled out pretty much in my review. In terms of site accessibility, parking and loading for the project, again, there's going to be 178 parking spaces. As the agreement is stipulated, they would have to provide 1.5 parking spaces, which would equal 267 off-street parking spaces. There is some availability for off-street parking under the or beside the building itself. Do not have any accountability on those numbers, but we would need to have verification on what is located under the building. And then the balance would have to be reserved outside the building. So it has to be within 300 feet of this building, which I believe could be 1 or 2.
No, so their ZHB approval would cover whatever the distance would be to the RPA lots out there.
300.
If it exceeds that 300 though, they would be, that was included in the overall ZHB relief. I can double check that, but I believe that's what it is. We did receive a letter from RPA stating that they do have capacity to provide all of the parking. And then the parking agreement would be required prior to the certificate of occupancy being given. The zoning office is reviewing for compliance with the ZHB decision, conclusions of law, and also with the settlement agreement. The settlement agreement is a little bit more strict than the ZHB approval. And then the first floor and a portion of the second floor is being reserved as commercial. They haven't identified specifically what it's going to be, but it will be a non-residential use.
So they just need to identify that on the plan itself.
Yeah, they would just have to.
Commercial office space as permitted by the CC zoning.
Yep.
That's easy enough.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and the parking was also the other big thing. So we did receive a letter from the RPA saying that they do currently have capacity for it. And then regardless of the land development plan, like they would need that parking agreement in place prior to being issued a certificate of occupancy.
When does the parking study come into play?
When does what?
The parking study come into play?
It does.
That's referenced in the settlement agreement. Okay. But yeah, that's where you said about
we're in the meeting with planning, with their attorney and with zoning. We were going to accept that letter, the general letter from the RPA, and then with the understanding that they would provide a formal executed agreement with the RPA once they were ready for a CO.
So we need accountability for the parking spaces that they have within their garage floor.
Don't believe they weren't proposing parking within the building.
Okay.
Yeah, everything was gonna be within an off-site parking facility.
So then they'll need the 178.
The 200, whatever.
267.
Yeah.
Spaces, okay. So yeah, if they can't identify any spaces on site, then
Yep.
everything has to be outside.
Yep.
All right. In terms of sanitary sewage disposal, we just need verification from Public Works to make sure that the planning modules that were, I think, approved last year do account for the 178, at least 178 off-street parking spaces, as well as the existing commercial or existing or proposed commercial office spaces that are going to be included. So that's a verification. Fire and rescue would need to review the plan. We had asked that a few standard notes be placed on the plan. And these notes are in addition to support the supplemental or the agreement, settlement agreement between the city council and the applicant. There will be no municipal improvements agreements. The arborist did ask that once weather conditions are better, that they want to take a closer look at the street trees to see if any other enhancements or replacements should be made. So that's the complicated review.
So they did submit today a response letter because they weren't able to make it to today's meeting. Not sure if Jerome, if you had a chance to review their responses.
Yeah, I looked at that. Okay.
And so I did receive confirmation that Berks County did not need to review this.
Okay, great. That was first question on my mind. I will say that I'm not I don't agree with Mark's comment for 8F. The building is an existing condition. The applicant suggests there should be a plan already in place. Furthermore, fire and rescue has been in the building performing inspections. What site accessibility comments could exist for the existing condition? Actually, it's not an existing condition because they are changing the interior. They're changing the interior configuration. So, I mean, if fire and rescue, checks off on it, that's fine. But this is not an existing condition.
All of the responses seem to just be away.
So
yeah.
And if the planning commission agrees with the responses, that's fine. I just believe that further review is necessary by multiple departments.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead, Will.
Thank you. Whatever we agree with or not, because we're referring to it, I suggest we accept Attorney Cook's responses as part of our record.
Okay. Okay, any other comments from the commissioners? Okay. Do you have anything, Don?
I do not. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. So, is it, does the commissioners feel that it is appropriate to table this plan while there's still more investigation going on among the different departments that have oversight of this project? take that as a yes. So do I hear a motion to table the revised plan of record for 601 Penn Street? Peter?
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Okay, great. Okay, second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, James. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Very good.
And we're good. We're good with time, correct?
Yeah, we just submit it. So
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah, we're good with time.
Okay.
That letter there, is that distributed on email or is that?
It went out at like 4:30 this afternoon. Would you like to see it?
I did forward it to you. I can send that back.
Well, let me just.
Yeah, Peter's probably like me.
I mean, the response is abbreviated. I don't know if there's further documentation to support the abbreviated response.
Yeah.
I mean, I got more clarification from Emily than I did in any parts of this application.
Yeah, according to this, Kim say, is it from you?
I just forwarded it around like 5:15, 5:30-ish.
Oh, there's quite another copy.
Yeah, it's about that time.
Yeah.
I got extra copies.
Yeah, you're always welcome to my printout, Peter.
Well, I'd rather have an email this that I can store it and.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Just trying to collect paper. All right. Yeah, if you wouldn't forward it, I don't honestly see it.
I know that. It's strange. Sometimes you look at your email inbox and it's like, and you'll go over it 3 times and then you'll go and
We get
come
it.
back and go, oh, where did that come
Just
from?
want to make sure that everyone understands this. We get a variety of applications from different engineers, surveyors. I mean, it's all part of the job. There's no way that everything's going to look the same. But this one goes far and away with the norms. We try to work with the same situation in another project, but we need some conformity. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to understand what this plan was trying to do.
Yeah, I don't see this as being too onerous.
So
Yeah, that's, I don't either. I think they're making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to. Especially since,
just so
you
you
know,
know,
Berkshire went very easy.
Well, we've tabled this, so we should probably stop discussing it any further.
Yeah,
shall we?
right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So we will move on to the waiver requests, and the first one is 317 Franklin Street. I'll hand it over to Emily since she normally handles this.
So I actually, the attorney, so the owner is here, Mr. Antonio Batista, his architect Lou Masiati is here, and then his attorney Joan London is on Zoom.
I am.
I will actually let Joan kind of give an update on the project, and then I will give what my recommendation would be.
Okay, and Mr.
Thank you,
Masiati can. Okay, thank you. And Mr. Masiati can fill in. The property received zoning approval for a mixed use of a daycare center on the basement and first floor, and for apartments on the upper floors. Mr. Masiati has prepared plans and permit applications for review. There will be no changes to the building footprint, no changes in height, no division of land. All of the changes to the building will be interior changes. For that reason, we are asking for a waiver of land development. We are also asking for it to allow the daycare center to get its certificate of use and occupancy, sort of what Emily when Emily and I spoke, call it phasing the project. Building and Trades and the fire marshal agree that the daycare center space is ready for a certificate of use and occupancy. With regard to the apartments on the upper floors, the fire alarm system needs to be completed. Mr. Batista has been in touch with the fire alarm company to finish the job. And Mr. Batista, is it correct that that has been scheduled?
No, yeah, they told me, the only is the vacation. He said when he come back, he'll do the schedule for do the all alarm system. But it's ready alarm system and the hallway in the apartment is down. All the hallway is down, second, third floor.
Okay. And all of the fire code requirements, including fire alarm system for the daycare center, have been completed. There's been significant progress since the September 2024 review letter from Hawk Valley. Many of those comments have been resolved, especially as to the daycare use. And I understand that construction on the apartments is estimated at about 95% complete and is close to being ready for the final inspection. So it's not going to be long until the apartments are completed, but the daycare is complete and it can't receive its state licensure until the city has given its certificate of use and occupancy. Mr. Masiotti, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it very well.
Okay, thank you.
So this had come in previously as a sketch plan. There was a slight breakdown in kind of how it was supposed to proceed. This was supposed to be a phased plan. And so it was supposed to be basically the two separate final plans. One when the daycare was done, one when the apartments was done. Just due to staffing and different things, it kind of fell through the cracks. So right now the waiver is just a waiver of for the daycare, for just a land development plan for the daycare, with the condition that there will be a final plan submitted prior to the apartments getting a CO. So there will be a final plan, it's just, this is to kind of allow them time to start getting the daycare finished off. And then the final plan will eventually come in prior to the CO for the dwellings on the second and third floor.
And I think on that sketch plan, most of the talk was about drop off and everything in that.
Parking,
That's been-
traffic flow, yeah.
Yeah, so there were a couple of options that were kind of floated around for the design of that. That's been resolved. They just got more parking at the parking garage for the dwellings, and then they're maintaining kind of what it already is, just designated for the drop off for the daycare.
Yeah, and as I recall, the parking along Franklin was definitely not.
Yeah, they
Voted
won't.
for,
They won't be using Franklin Street as a drop off. It'll be that parking area that already exists.
Right, and that's Carpenter Street, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So have those improvements along Carpenter Street been made? What are we?
It's already existing.
we're talking about modifying because the one space was extremely close to Franklin. And if someone's coming up Franklin and there was someone coming out of the daycare facility, it would be a little bit disastrous. So yeah, we were looking at making it not 6 spaces, but 5 spaces, as I recall.
Are we requiring signage that says no drop off and no parking?
We were told, we discussed that with the land development plan.
Do you have signage for the daycare parking stating?
Yeah, we can define it there.
Okay,
It's down. I have a picture here. I don't know.
if you could just send it to me, that way we have it.
Yeah, it's all the parking space is finished. Make the line, make the handicap parking. All the space is ready now.
Okay, so you're saying that there are line spaces, marked spaces, and there will be signage.
Yeah, we discussed at the sketch plan phase, this to say daycare parking only, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, so, I can, Mr. Ortiz, if you could just forward me what the signs look like, that'll be fine. But yeah, so the recommendation is to provide a waiver, basically for phase planning, and then just allow for the final plan to be submitted prior to the issuance of a CO for the apartments.
The review letter, sorry, the review letter for September indicates the number of children to be 35. Is that the number you're going to work with, or is that number is likely to change?
Oh, we keep it the same.
Yeah.
Okay, 35.
35,
yeah.
Okay, great. That means there's 35 cars that gotta get through there in the morning and the afternoon, or some number approaching that.
Yeah, we talked about having the 5 spaces being, they would be basically, there will be no permanent parking there, so they would be pick up and drop off.
That's all drop off.
Yeah, so that probably should be on the plan, pick up and drop off only.
Right. And those times tend to be more staggered anyway, with parents working different shifts.
Thanks.
Daycare wars.
Yeah.
And you said the fire department's been through and we're getting a CO for the appropriate age children?
Yeah, the CO currently, is just going to be for the daycare, and the CO for the apartments will be won't be issued until a final plan for the entire building is approved.
But the fire is signing off for the
Oh
appropriate.
yeah, fire said that they're good with the daycare.
Okay. What are you looking at what kind of documentation are you requiring from the city for the waiver to submit to the state to allow this to go forward? A resolution?
Joan, you just need something from us stating that you can move forward with the daycare, correct? Or just the CO from the trades department, right?
I believe it would be the CO, because that's what's needed to submit to the state for licensure, because I know that all of the approvals have to be in place before the final inspection by the Department of Welfare.
So you you don't need anything particular from the planning commission to submit to the state.
I don't believe so. I think it's just the certificate of occupancy.
So just internally.
Yeah, internally, we needed the waiver to allow the building and trades department to release the CO for the daycare.
Okay. Just make sure the waiver reflects the fact that a plan will be recorded.
For the entire building.
For the entire building, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Very good. Do you have anything on this one, Don?
I do not. Thank you.
And I believe sewer plan modules were approved. Or they were at least submitted. We're waiting for verification that they were.
Okay.
For the apartments.
For the apartments. Okay, great. Sir, any other comments or questions?
I would just say I saw the planters there as part of the screen, the buffer. They look very nice. Appreciated that.
Thank you.
Okay. Great. Okay. Very good. So do I hear a motion to approve the waiver, approve a waiver request from producing a land development plan that includes 2 phases. The planning commission will require a land development plan for the completed structure at a future date.
Mr. Chairman, would it be more appropriate to call it a deferral rather than a waiver?
That's a good question.
As part of the waiver request, planning commission agrees to defer.
There you go.
That might work better, because I think that as to the apartments, because the project had been submitted together, it does need to be actually waived, but deferral for purposes of the CO. That I think I agree with Mr.
Yeah, so-
Skrinkowski.
A deferral of a final land development plan, prior to the issuance of a CO for the dwelling units.
Okay, that's good. Very good. Did you write that down, Jay?
I wrote it down, yeah.
It's recorded.
Did everyone hear what Emily's proposed as the motion?
I'll make
Yes.
that, whatever it was.
Okay.
I will repeat, the motion is to defer a land development plan to be submitted, approved prior to a CO being issued of the dwelling units.
Beginning of that, just put approval of the waiver
And
request.
approval.
Approval of the waiver request and then the rest of it. You just-
Yes. So Peter first.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Nelson. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, opposed? Okay, well, thank you very much, Joan, for your help on this one.
Thank you, and thank you for your assistance.
Joan, good seeing you again today.
Yes, good seeing you. Sorry about that delay down in Ole.
Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, well, thank you for your cooperation on this, because it's been taking a little while.
Yeah,
But there's a lot to do when you're doing such a complicated project with two
I know.
with two uses going on. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, have a
Take
good
care.
evening.
Okay, thanks, Joan.
Yeah, good night.
Bye. Okay, sure. And next up is a waiver request for 700 Lancaster Avenue, and we'll wait for Emily to come back.
I mean, was handling it.
Okay.
Yeah, we did receive an application, requesting for a waiver, for the 700, for the 700. Lancaster Avenue. Basically, what we have is that the work is basically going to focus in the interior. There was no external work that was going to be done, and that was the basis for the waiver.
So they're changing the use from a dance studio,
There used to be a school.
school.
And there was a school, there was some retail in there at some point. It's always been non-residential. They're just now, instead of it being two different uses on the two floors, it's basically just one company using it as office space and laboratory space for themselves.
MJ Ryder.
Yes.
Well, it's good to hear that they're continuing to expand, because
as you recall, their other spot off of
Clinton,
off of Route 10. I mean, that it was very bad accessibility in and out of that. So this one would at least provide that one better accessibility in park.
Yeah.
Are they? Do you know if they're moving from that spot to that spot? Or?
That would be a question for them.
Good evening, commission members. This is Chris Mubdy. I represent MJ Ryder. I also have a representative here from MJ Ryder as well, who can hopefully answer any questions you have. MJ Ryder's current facilities are on Angelica Street, which is less than half a block away from this building. I think you recognize that they're growing. They need additional space, which is why they purchased this building. We previously were before the zoning hearing board seeking relief for parking. We obtained that relief. There is no exterior modifications to the building that are going to be done. There is no modifications to the parking lots. So we're requesting a waiver here this evening. The only modifications to the building will be interior.
Yeah, and the waiver is just required just because how the current ordinance is worded. It includes redevelopment of a property, so even internal changes would trigger land development plan, but like Mr. Mulkey said, it's all interior. They got their zoning relief. We do have they're not changing anything to the parking layout or anything. And so we would support a waiver for this.
So the areas we look at are if there are going to be any impacts associated with the change of use. And parking would not be a problem. Site accessibility probably would not be a problem. Have we had verifications that sewer flows are gonna be acceptable or balanced?
Mr. Monk, has a narrative been
Well, I tell you, what was testified to, and we have a representative here from MJ Ryder who can confirm. There's only going to be 20 or at max 30 employees in this building. I believe that's likely less than what was previously there for the school and the retail that was previously in the building. So we believe that the sewer is adequate for the proposed use.
If we get a narrative to compare the two values, I mean, that's a condition. Certainly, if you're going to be looking at 30 employees versus what the school used to be, then certainly I think we could have a comparison then that Public Works can verify. It doesn't seem like it would be too far out of whack because, as I recall, MJ Ryder, a lot of the employees are transient, or they basically go out to other locations and come back.
That's correct. They do water testing. They go, take a water sample, come back and do the testing on site.
Yeah, so some of the employees would not even be there all the time.
That's correct.
So I think in your narrative, if you can explain that, and then you can either use what the school used to be and use the equations that are under Chapter 73. If you don't have access to that information, then you could also utilize flow values from RAWA to support your claim that this is what the water consumption flows used to be. This is what they're going to be. I would say Public Works is probably going to require that you look at 10 to 20 gallons per employee. So I don't know what the offsets are going to be. But if you go over those values on flow, then you'll have to do a planning module. But that could also be a condition too.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a waiver with the condition that a narrative be submitted, and that, if Public Works determines that modules will be required, that modules will be done.
That's the only impact that I see with this project. Everything else is, as long as building and trades and fire and rescue are all on board there, it's fine.
And it's commercial to commercial, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
So what should we do here?
With that condition.
Yeah, so
The waiver with these conditions.
yeah. Okay, so do I hear a motion to grant a land development waiver for 700 Lancaster Avenue with the condition that the applicant supplies a sewer flow narrative with comparison of previous uses, and if those flows exceed that of the previous uses, then the applicant would have to submit a sewer planning module.
So move.
Sorry, and
Anything else?
I'm sorry, and also compliance with any other departments' comments?
And okay, I will amend that to meet the requirements of that are put forth by any other department within the city of Reading.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may add, and if a sewer module is not necessary, they should put that narrative note that narrative on the plan.
There is no
plan.
Yeah, there will be no plan. It will be just a submission to public.
Oh, that's right. We're waiving a plan, right? So why don't we don't have anything to record, right?
So what it could do, that narrative could be all attached to the zoning permit.
Yeah, we could do that.
To the permit. There we go. I was looking for some place to record it. Okay, yeah. We're so used to doing a plan. Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Sounds great. Okay, do I have a second for the motion?
can do that.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll take James.
Just,
Who'd you
go?
Okay.
Might be first in cyber.
Okay, question on the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you, everyone.
Opposed? There we go. Thank you, Mr. Mufti.
Thank you.
And Miss McKechnie for joining us today. And and then we look forward to your submission of the narrative. And then that will go to our Public Works Department, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
If you need information as to who to direct that to, reach out to me.
I will. Thank you, Michelle.
Yep, thank you.
Very good. Home stretch. Yeah. Next up, we have. This has now become very complicated. Part 16 of the zoning ordinance of parking and loading. I'll turn it over to Jerome for the latest update.
We have a subcommittee group that consists of various members, council members, planning commission members, administrative personnel, planning office, zoning office.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. And the county. Planning commission had sent 2 representatives. So what we initially did was agreed that some of the concerns that were previously issued need to be resolved. And as part of that, we will also incorporate the Saldo amendment back into the zoning ordinance. As you recall, we did that before. This is for allowing for parking space reduction. And then also there were some other editorial issues that needed to be resolved. And once that's accomplished, that same board will take a look at it, make sure they're in agreement with it. And once it gets past that, it'll come back to the planning commission. And if that's all agreeable, then it will go to the city council. I think that sums it up.
Yep. And the main reason why that is happening is for us to try and reduce the time it takes for ordinances to move from one body to another. So when they review it and they're in agreement, then it should move quite straight and quickly.
Okay, so they're not radical changes. Points of clarification that were necessary that were addressed by our attorneys that are reviewing this. So there's 3 of them, so we're all good from a legal aspect. But there was also some just common sense issues that, as we were putting things into practice, and we were always taking a quick look at to make sure that does the amendment consider the types of uses. And like, for example, one that came up was when I was reviewing the improvements at what was the project? 138 South 8th Street. I noticed that our requirement in the zoning ordinance and also in the SALDO maybe it's requires a 22-foot wide driveway apron. But if it's only going to be less than 10 or less lots, it's only going to be in and out. So you don't need to have 22 feet. With 22 feet, it sounds great for emergency management and from site accessibility in and out, but then it just takes up an extra parking space that's on the street. So then it all has to be signed, it has to go through city ordinances. So there needs to be some logic put back into that, and just a few other couple spots while we're looking at it. So expect it back. Just gonna take another hurdle.
Okay. Hurdles are us.
Yeah. These are real high hurdles. Next up, we did receive a comments from Berks County Planning Commission on the TOD ordinance, which I went over, which was quite interesting. Does anyone want to summarize this?
I can, following the comments that we received, we did reach out to GRCA, who contacted the consultants, Collins, who was given the task of incorporating all those. And he should be getting back to us with the final revised ordinance with all the comments incorporated.
Can you please refrain from calling this a TOD ordinance? It's a TOD overlay amendment.
I'll be sure to reflect that in a minute. Mr. Sprinkowski,
So that's like probably the 12th time it states. It is an amendment to our zoning ordinance, which is going to incorporate an overlay district.
To create an overlay.
Right, an overlay district. Yeah. Following that revision, actually, is going to have a meeting with the staff. Then after that, and it will move forward with presenting that. So, that will be an opening to officially.
Yeah, because they obviously don't want to listen to me.
The one thing that was brought up by the First County Planning Commission is that our existing map has a few inconsistencies that probably need to be taken care of.
TOD map.
The TOD map or our general zoning?
Our general zoning map. But I might be thinking of the wrong letter because I only have 12 of them here or something. Yeah. Staff notes that the introduction labeled as note of the proposed amendment references the Riverfront Redevelopment Overlay District, planned residential development, and the Penn Square Corridor Overlay District. The note mentions the elimination of the Riverfront Redevelopment Overlay District and the planned residential development. While the Riverfront Development Overlay District is depicted on the existing zoning map, the planned residential development and the Penn Square Corridor Overlay District are not shown. In addition, the amendment refers to the Penn Square Overlay District, while the existing zoning map legend identifies this district as the Penn Square Overlay District. Staff recommends clarification on the status and naming of the districts to ensure consistency.
Well, we're gonna eliminate them apparently, so.
Some of those are going to be eliminated.
Yeah, I hope so.
The PRD is not identified. That's described. Riverfront, I think, is on there.
Yeah.
Penn Square is on there, but it's mislabeled incorrectly. And then the TOD will be on there one step at a time.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I just wanted to.
Takes precedent if they overlap each other.
The one, so it would be if there are any kind of overlaps in any overlays or districts or anything like that, it would be whichever one's the most restrictive would govern.
The least common denominator.
So you can use the underlying zoning ordinance. But if it's say you're in the institutional overlay district and you are in institutional use, then the most restrictive one would apply.
Well, yeah, it's the most restrictive, or like, like say it's the culprit. That's an institutional overlay. They can't choose for one project to be the institutional overlay requirements and then another project be the R2, R3, whatever is in that area. They would have to choose and be consistent. But generally speaking, if there's any kind of conflicting regulations, that would be the most restrictive would prevail.
Yeah. So we just had 2 projects today.
So question, in theory, there's no limit to how many overlays can be on one particular parcel.
Technically, yeah. So we'd have the TOD, but then parts of the TOD would be in a historic district overlay. So then those.
Yeah, the ones on Penn Street are probably in 4 or 5.
Yeah, like downtown has the Cow Hill, and then going south you get the Prince Street. It's we'll figure it out.
Do we still have the workforce housing requirement language in the TOD?
That was supposed to be cleaned up.
I believe it might still be in there. I don't remember.
It's simplified to reflect on what that exactly is and who are classified as workforce.
We still have to review it.
That was supposed to be cleaned up.
Well, cleaned up or taken out. Yeah. Those are two different things. I don't think it's about, if it is, well.
That should be taken.
Developers that I've talked to said this is just a non-starter, we're not building there because of that.
It's overwhelming on the amount of information that you have to comply with. Or the documentation you have to comply with.
Yeah.
That was something.
It was, you know, this is the crux of this thing from a developer standpoint is. That requirement, the workforce housing requirement. And then the benefit was you could go higher. And they're like, we're not going higher, these are existing buildings. So there's no benefit and there's only an obligation. This is a non-starter for us.
Yeah. The only thing that was most beneficial was the parking, and we've already done that with the parking reductions.
Right. So you know, I think we've discussed this at some point in the last months, you know, and if there is no practical benefit to developers, you know, why bother?
We then review this further instead of having trash through adoption.
Well, you know, I'm one voice, but you know, I think that you know.
It's valid points. It's definitely valid points.
Yeah, I think, you know, there are others that might agree with me.
It's got to be used.
You know, if it sits on the shelf and nobody applies it to their project, then what have we accomplished?
That's the way if instead of as Russian food and organizing we know it's going to be used, it's better we find more reliable ground so that we end up something that is going to help saturate the city instead of just having a paper on the shelf.
Yeah, like I said, you know, of course, we're not paying for this, but the idea is that it's still going to take a lot of staff.
Supposed to be something that stimulates development.
Yeah.
In the core, not deters it.
It just goes from the TOD overlay to the zoning amendment. It's still their responsibility?
That now to zoning amendment, then it becomes the city's responsibility.
There you go.
Now stuff.
So good. So once once the TOD concept is approved,
yeah,
then it would take the zoning amendment to put it into play. So the city would be responsible for that.
Yeah.
And we can always.
So that's where the city is responsible, and with that responsibility.
Well, at the moment, this is just a third-party document that they are recommending to the city, right?
Yeah.
So, well, you know, there's serious intent here. It's just not, I think, practical enough. Yeah. So, is this? I know GRC is funding this, but they are getting input from many directions.
Yeah, county officials.
Only county? Or
Well, and there's also.
It's some kind of grant funding.
School primal, trades, school primal.
There are representatives from the city that are on that.
Yeah, we have included from this as well.
Well, maybe those representatives who want
some of the
workforce housing as a requirement.
Yes. Who is on it currently that is currently affiliated with the city of Reading?
I think I know the mayor is on there.
The mayor is on it, and so is Christian Weinbach.
Yes. That is the main first.
Does it automatically assume that?
The executive director as well.
Yeah, as those positions changed.
Yeah, that will have them should be on there. The only things, the two officers may not be very familiar with things like ordinances because that now goes to the practical aspect of actually implementation.
Okay.
You know, we can imagine what we would really like to have happen, but if nobody wants to do it, what's the point?
yesterday that
Right, from the standpoint of the people who are the people who are going to invest the dollars to make something happen, these are the ones that we have to
It's gotta make it worthwhile.
incentivize, yeah.
It's gotta make it worthwhile for them to tear down and build up. Build it. That's something that can be unique that they can't do conventionally.
You know, even if they could go higher, you know, you transition from stick to masonry or steel or something at some level, and then it suddenly becomes the cost of building. So that is the detractor for, you know, brownfield sites, I suppose. Otherwise, it's existing buildings. You know, there's talk about tearing down the Reading Eagle buildings and putting up housing there, but it's not going to the person who's interested in doing that, and they're not going to go high because the cost of construction takes it. That's a step function. Once you get above so many floors, now suddenly the construction cost is very, very high as you're transitioning from wood sticks to other stuff.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I don't think too many people know my background or much of it, but I worked in Phoenixville for 9 years with various jobs, and I was on the front end of the revitalization that they've been experiencing. And I just want to make a general comment. You know, well, first of all, I'm really hoping I can do everything I can to help the city revitalize. And just hearing the comments now, you know, I just really hope that whatever ordinance amendments or anything else that we have revitalization in the back of our minds, so we can get to that point. I know that's what we did in Phoenixville. And just hearing the comments about brownfields and developers wanting to come in, I just hope that that's where we head. That's my personal desire.
But one thing that we can point out with Phoenixville's revitalization is that the buildings along the main streets didn't change very much. Interestingly enough, all the new building happened at the old foundry sites, as I remember.
The main street has some significant new construction as well.
What I can tell you is in 1997, when I got there, you know, it was a very bleak and depressing place. And you know, we had there was a lot of planning, a lot of work that went into it. But the first thing that we did was we got the infrastructure to the point where it wasn't an impediment for developers to come in. The sanitary sewer system was overloaded, so revitalization wasn't even an option. The steel property that you're talking about, that was an Act 2 brownfield site, and like you said, I mean, now they're selling $600,000 townhouses and condos on there. So it's and we did a streetscapes project downtown on Bridge Street. If you ever been to Phoenixville, you'll see the light blue lights and the brick sidewalks and all of this stuff. But it was a coordinated approach to get it to revitalize, and it is possible. And in the buildings that you're talking about on Bridge Street, I mean, it does look quite a bit different, even though a lot of the buildings are being reused. A lot of people want to come to Phoenixville now. I'm talking to you from Phoenixville right now, in a townhouse that as you never would have seen in the past. So I'm just saying this, not to promote Phoenixville, but just, I'm hearing comments, and I think we can get there, but I think as a group, we just need to be, mindful whether we're considering ordinance amendments or anything else. I really would hope that the city of Reading would be able to revitalize. And again, that's just my personal interest.
Yeah, so Simone Collins does have the county comments along with their draft. They are revising it to incorporate those comments. And so that'll be circulated once we get them back. Not to rush anyone, but just, I was going to ask if we can just we have Enid here to speak on number 9A. I was gonna do the last one about the floodplain administrator, but she's been waiting for a little bit, so just a little out of order.
Yeah,
Have
no
her.
problem. Yeah, this part of we can
Okay.
do in any order we want.
Okay, so then, Enid, she will speak on the Pennsylvania, Department of Community and Economic Development, multimodal transportation fund application for the Penn Street parking redesign.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So this is just a follow-up to the points that Jamar presented at your last meeting when we were working on getting a approval of support letter from your commission to hit send on the PennDOT multimodal application. So in terms of the parking updates, all of the objectives, the planning with McCormick Taylor and all of that, this is what that is in reference to. This is just another funding opportunity that we're seeking in order to acquire the timeline and capital in order to move the project. Does anyone need a refresher on what the parking updates are? I know some documents were shared in the past. Does anyone have any questions for me?
So this last time we did 400 block.
I wasn't here.
Yes, it was a 400 block. Yes. So,
Yeah.
right. So this is for phase 2. So this will be for the 500 block. And a support letter and all of that was sent over to the planning manager, so he has that as well. Everything has been sent over to the county planning commission as well, so they have all of that information too.
When do we learn of this, the
So
grants?
typically with DCED, the due date is, I believe, late May. We're hoping to hit send very early in March. So we will likely hear in late fall, early winter at their quarterly scheduled committee meeting for multimodal announcements.
Okay, do I hear a motion to have the staff provide a letter of support from the City of Reading Planning Commission to support the MTF application for the 500 block Penn Street parking redesign? Yes. Okay, Peter, second?
Second.
Nelson? Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Oops.
Okay, very good, thank you. Yeah, so this will then become a coordinated effort with both blocks.
Yep.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Enid.
Welcome.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Then we'll go back to the floodplain administrator. Are we changing the floodplain administrator?
Yes.
We don't have-
So previously, so in the zoning ordinance, section 1807, it designates the zoning administrator as the floodplain administrator. When, during the time that we did not have, a zoning administrator, that job of floodplain administration was given to the city engineer at that time, Tim Kroll. However, now we do have a zoning administrator, but we also, we have a new city engineer. There were conversations had between community development and, public works, specifically with John and Kyle. And they are okay with keeping floodplain administration with the city engineer. If, we feel that's a little bit more appropriate, rather than having the zoning administrator be the administrator of the floodplain. And so it has to go through the entire zoning ordinance amendment. Let me share my screen so everyone can see what's being changed. This is the section being changed. It's literally just changing zoning administrator to city engineer.
Check definitions too, like in there.
Yeah, if it's included in the definitions, then that will get updated too.
The floodplain definitions are separate. I think they're in part 18 as well. Not in 22. I think.
Doesn't mention the administrator.
Other day.
No.
Okay.
Yep, so it's just that section. And so we need a recommendation to forward it to the county planning commission.
Okay.
For that change.
Check.
Is there a draft that could be sent to the county?
Yeah, so I haven't sent it yet, but
Okay.
yes, there is a draft that has been drafted up.
Okay.
To be sent, yes.
Check
Okay.
22. The definitions.
Oh.
That's the only other places it would be.
I'll double check definitions just to make
Michelle, do you propose we send that draft we drafted to the county first for them to act on it before it comes to the planning commission? Or what are you thinking?
I just wanted to make sure we just weren't sending a letter to the
Yeah.
county. Yeah, that we were actually drafting an ordinance for them to review. That's all.
Yep,
And then once that's changed, then anybody that the city appoints.
whoever the city engineer would be at any given time would be the floodplain administrator instead of the zoning administrator.
Do we want to say something along the lines of the engineer or their designee? Should there be a situation where the engineers, we don't have an engineer like for a short time period or something like that?
Yeah, we have wording like that for in other parts of the zoning ordinance, so we could do that, the city engineer or designee of,
Designated person.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure you want to do that.
Well, there could have been a gap between when Tim Kroll retired and when you took over, Don, but fortunately there was a smooth transition. But the city engineer could be vacated at any given time. So you need to have an authorized person in case there is no city engineer.
That's going to happen no matter what. And the rest that I'm seeing is that you don't want to designate somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. And the floodplain regulations, and there's a lot of responsibility, and yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm not sure that you want to do that.
I just don't want to get into a situation where, for whatever reason, and I hope you don't go anywhere anytime soon, but we get an issue like we had down at RAC, and we've got a floodplain issue, and for some reason we don't have an engineer and we don't have anybody to comment on it.
So also, we can Don, and this could be something between you and David Barr, maybe have like an internal policy on how to authorize an alternative floodplain administrator in the event that the city engineer position is vacant. This would also allow, like, if we were to get a consultant or someone or another, outside engineer to be the administrator interim.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying is exactly why I'm hesitant to add designee, because it's quite possible that the city, if I left, and I don't want to leave anytime soon, but the city, should go outside and hire an expert, from the outside and not just designate somebody on the inside. I have a lot of respect for Tim Kroll. I have one thing I really like to say. I have a lot of respect for Tim Kroll as an engineer and a person, and as a city engineer. The way that the RAC was handled may have shown a lack of understanding of of the floodplain regulations and what you can and can't do. And that should give everybody pause as far as how this should be handled. I'm just going to leave it at this. I think you should be careful with what you do as far as wording this. And my suggestion is to just make the floodplain administrator the city engineer, and when the time comes, let the powers that be decide what's needed. I wouldn't add the word designee. It's not like you're delegating something that somebody can just kind of pick up. It's really specialized. It's a really responsible position, and I would just be careful with that.
Or say something, an engineer, because a city engineer is a specific word, so you really can't go out to a third party. So you could say, or an engineer appointed by the city.
I don't know that I don't know that I would even do that, to be honest with you.
I just have a concern that, again, not that you're going anywhere, but we get our situation in a hole, and we don't have a city engineer.
Okay.
Right. So I think what would probably happen is kind of just what we did then, when we didn't have a zoning administrator. We would have to identify who's the most qualified to do the job, and then they would be designated interim until the city engineer then, that position was filled.
How many years has this zoning administrator been the floodplain administrator, even though the zoning administrator really doesn't have the knowledge and expertise to do the job? So you've been in this vulnerable position for a while now.
I think with
I got a resolution on it to go with what Emily suggested, just say a qualified engineer and consultant.
No. No.
I have a question, Mr. Could the ordinance that establishes the office of engineer also include an acting engineer, somebody acting as such? And that would be not just for floodplain purposes, but in general.
The city has traditionally appointed an alternate when the seat's been vacant.
Okay, the city engineer position, more times than not, will not understand floodplain to the extent that you need to understand floodplain. That's what I was saying about Tim Kroll, all due respect. Okay, I spent 8 years in South Louisiana, and I had 3 interviews for the city engineer job, and all 3 interviews they were asking me what I knew about floodplain. So that was my first clue how big of a deal it was in the city of Reading. So I mean, the way this thing will probably play out is if I'm not here, the powers that be are going to have to go find somebody. It's not going to just be a matter of hiring a new city engineer, because it's probably greater than 50% that person's not going to understand floodplain that well. Because there's a lot more to engineering than just floodplain. So Again, I just suggest choose wisely.
So then if we say, this person should be a qualified engineer, would that cover that?
That's what I was suggesting.
No.
No, it's not.
I say, let's table it then, and Don, we can have a conversation, and kind of hash it out, and then we can bring it back next month.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So
Okay.
we can find,
All
we
right.
can find better wording.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm telling you, the way this is going to play out is, you know, if there isn't somebody qualified to do floodplain on staff, the powers that be are just going to have to find somebody who does, whether it's on staff or outside.
Is there some kind of a certification for being a floodplain administrator?
There is a certification, but it doesn't qualify you enough to be the administrator.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
something
Well,
called a
I'll let you-
certified floodplain manager. But that doesn't really, you know, it doesn't provide the required expertise for the job.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll, so we can just table it then until next month, and then, me and Don have a meeting tomorrow anyway. We can kind of figure out what would be the most appropriate wording, and I'll bring it back.
That sounds good. And I think I would also suggest it, if we could just bring in Dave Barr and Kyle Zeiber and anybody else, so that they're comfortable with what's being proposed.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can do that.
And just to clarify, I don't care. I just want to make sure that we're not, if I'm on the other side and you say the city engineer has to do this floodplain analysis and I don't like what you're hearing, I'm coming in and objecting and saying, your city engineer didn't do this.
Can you I don't understand what you're saying. Can you say it again, please?
So if the city engineer is giving an opinion,
Right.
no, and if there is no city engineer and the ordinance says the city engineer is to rule on this and there is no city engineer, I'm going to come in and argue if I'm on the other side and say, I don't trust your opinion's illegal because you're not the city engineer. Because you're
Okay.
tying yourself to the word city engineer unless
Okay.
it's an opening. And again, I don't care how
Yeah.
you do it. I just want to close that gap.
I understand. And again, don't get me wrong. I mean, I have ego, but this isn't about me.
Or qualified person side by side.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, we'll take
Hang
this
on,
offline.
hang on. But I want to go back to what Michelle said. But with the scenario you just described, with the zoning administrator being the floodplain administrator, that person doesn't know hardly anything about floodplain.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing that they have to be a qualified person. That's not what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that if we tie ourselves to the word, the city engineer is the floodplain administrator, that unless we have a person, because the city engineer is a defined person in the charter and in the zoning and every other ordinance in the city, I'm going to come in and argue, I'm disqualified. You're not qualified. You're not the appropriate person to give this opinion because you are not the city engineer. If it is not the city engineer giving the words. So I just want to close the gap that if there is no city engineer or the city engineer is not qualified to give the opinion, how do we
Yeah.
close that gap? That's all I'm suggesting.
Yeah, and I think there's the key words: a person who's not qualified. I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Okay.
all I'm saying.
Okay.
Can we get a
Yeah.
motion then to table?
All right, see here, do I, yeah,
You go, I think you go.
okay. Do I hear a motion to, table the action on changes to the zoning ordinance, concerning the floodplain administrator?
Did you do?
Okay, okay, second?
Second.
Okay, Nelson, question on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. You can tell I'm getting tired.
Agreed.
Okay. One thing, concerning, and actually Don will probably, be interested in this. I read in one of my newspapers that I read, I only read 5 a day, that the state is giving a grant to RAC to put the student union building back on track.
That's great.
So, this will be the opportunity for Don to step in and be floodplain administrator and work this out.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I got more to share, but it's too late.
Yeah, but I just wanted to point that out, that we could be seeing this come back.
I told Dave Barr I was hoping they would.
So, very good. Any other comments?
Anything on, are we on go to the order now?
Yes.
Anything on the Fifth and Penn, anything more than what was already said publicly, or we might want to say
No.
on the redevelopment?
No.
Oh, on the, okay. Excuse me. Okay, very good. If no one has anything else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Okay, Peter, second.
I'll second.
James.
Sure, why not?
Sound reluctant.
Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, very good. We are adjourned. Thank you very much,
Everyone.
Good night.
Thanks.
Good night.
Night.